From strength to joy, this episode of Aging Unscripted breaks down why nutrition isn't about restriction, but rather about fueling a life worth living. Tune in to hear more about eating for life. Welcome to Aging Unscripted, a podcast with a different perspective on aging. Here we explore a wide range of topics aimed at celebrating, supporting, and honoring the aging journey. I'm Jill Vitale-Aussem, and I'm privileged to serve as president and CEO of Christian Living Communities, a nonprofit senior living organization based in Denver, Colorado. In studio with me today is Pam Sullivan, our vice president of communications and philanthropy. And joining us today is our very special guest is our friend Clint Rasti. And Clint has nearly 10 years experience as a clinical dietitian, serving in a variety of senior living settings. And Clint is our Duet Hospitality Regional System dietitian. So Clint supports all of our Christian Living Communities campuses with amazing direction when it comes to dietary needs and driving really the nutritional focus for the whole dining program. So welcome, Clint. We're thrilled to have you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. We're really glad to have you. So when we were talking about this, I was like, ooh, you know how dietitians are in nutrition. Dietitians are, they're going to judge what I eat. They're very prescriptive. Very prescriptive.
Yes.
But that's not who you are. And that's not who a lot of dietitians are, right?
No, it's not. It's a common misconception.
So my sense when we talk to you is you take a really holistic view of nutrition and how it ties in with aging. So tell us a little bit about that, your perspective on all of that.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the general sense of nutrition and who we are as people and health and wellness in general, and nutrition kind of being that primary base layer for all of that, I look at it from the whole person, from looking at everything that provides wellness to a human. And so sometimes nutrition is a major component of that, but I think that it has a lot more to do about how someone is feeling, stress levels, if they're getting enough sleep, if they are taking care of themselves in a general sense, making social connections, feeling financial well. And so I think all of those things together create a holistic view of a person and where they're at nutritionally.
As we age, a lot of times we get diagnosed with different disease processes, diabetes, retention, fluid retention, things like that. And it comes down to diet.
Yes.
And so many people as we age really get laser focused in on diet. What do you say to people who say it's all about whatever diet I should be on as I age? That's what's important.
Yeah, I think that is very common because it's something very easy for people to turn to because they can control it. They can say, well, I couldn't control this thing that happened to me necessarily, but I can control the way that I eat and the things that I put into my body. There's a whole worldview about good versus bad foods, right? And so people start thinking, well, I need to eat this and not that. Entire literature that is written about that kind of subject matter. And so they hyper-focus and hyper-fixate. I can cure myself or I can fix what happened to me by changing the way I eat. And so it becomes that hyperfix.
A way to get control over something you can't control, maybe. Yes, but it does. But what we eat does just matter.
Which is completely reasonable to be like, you know what? This is the catalyst I needed to make the change for whatever it was.
Yeah.
But you said to us earlier, no food is bad food, or all food is good food, or something like that. You had a saying.
Yes.
And so talk to us a little bit about that, because that's a different perspective.
Yeah, there are no, this is the good food, this is the bad food, binary black and white. It is very much all food is nutrition, all food nourishes us. It's how we interact with this food and how we bring it to ourselves and how we receive it, that is probably going to be the most important thing. There are going to be times where foods that the general public perceives as being really bad for you, do not go near that food, but it nourishes us because it helps bring down stress. It makes us feel a little bit better.
Okay.
And so
Well, that makes me feel better.
Like the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
For a lot, cheeseburgers have purposes in our life.
yeah, completely. Because you're like, this is what I want. This reminds me of a time in my life where my grandmother made me a cheeseburger that I really liked, or, like whatever it might be. And so that nourishes us. And then those individual components have nutrition.
Right. And I guess the method to the madness is not to eat cheeseburger every day.
Correct.
So that's balance and moderation. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's finding, yes, that balance in the way that we perceive our food and trying a variety of different foods that we can enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a whole market out there right now. I mean, you can't go to the internet right now without finding something that says you need more of this as you age, or this is the magic component or nutrition or vitamin or whatever that you need for aging. How do you recommend people sort out the fact from the fiction about nutrition and aging?
Yeah, I think that it is extremely complicated in the highly technological world we live in now. At our fingertips are AI prompts and things that are telling us that filter out a lot of other information for us, which that's a whole different discussion about how that can potentially be harmful or whatever that is. I think you should always look critically at the stuff you are reading and where you are receiving information from. Always look at who the author is, if the author has different intention, or if it's from a paid subscription of some kind, like from a company.
Yeah.
And
those are hard to find sometimes. Sometimes they look so legit. Right.
Completely.
Yes, they do. And they're selling a pill or something.
You scroll to the bottom, it has to say if it's a paid partnership or if whatever it might be, find out who the author is, where are their roots, like what is their background, anything like that. I think obviously I will refer to if it's written by a registered dietitian or a medical provider or practitioner. Now, if not everybody's created equal, you still need to do some of that background research.
So seeking out someone though, like a dietitian, is a wise choice.
Yes.
Right? Because then you're kind of not just kind of, you're getting information from somebody who has the education and the experience to help you really think about things, rather than some influencer, right?
Yeah.
Who's peddling something, which you all do. Your team of dietitians helps the residents in our communities, right? Who are trying to figure out what should I be eating with, now when I'm, trying to get this outcome, as well as supporting people who need higher levels of care.
Yeah.
And a lot of health plans have dietitians that are available too. So, a lot of options out there.
So help us cut through the noise, though, because we've kind of touched on it a little bit. There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
Like, what's the basic components and things that, as we age, we really should think about, like protein and carbs? I mean, what are the basics? What's the starting block?
Yeah, I think, well, if you're looking for a good source of information, you could do worse than going to the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Eatright.org has its own website. That is our, source for information, and the academy that recognizes us as dietitians. If you're at baseline, you want to first start, I think you should always have a yearly physical at the very least, right? Look at what your medical markers are. So where am I at? Is there something that I seem to be deficient in, or that is troubling with me? Talk to people. Are you feeling fatigue or anything like that? For example, if you're feeling overly tired, maybe you are eating enough carbohydrate, because that is what fuels us. That's what gives us energy.
Because you keep being told to just eat protein, don't eat carbs. But then there's a pitfall to that, right? So yeah, that's a good
Absolutely. So maybe you're like, oh gosh, I'm feeling tired, but you just got off of like some 10-day, low carb thing. And of course you're feeling like not energetic. If you're feeling like, I want to start going to the gym because I want to help increase musculature or strengthen joints because I am nervous about like my mobility as I age, then you might do well to increase your protein and say, I want to have more protein-rich sources, animal, non-animal proteins, or whatever that might be. And fat is an insulator. You need fat. And as we age, that actually becomes something that we are very, very concerned about.
Okay, so that
I say more about that. What does that mean?
yeah.
Give that to us in English, please. And the fat is an insulator. Okay, does that mean that if you have more fat, you're just more insulated, or what does that mean?
I mean, fat provides cushion and insulation around your major vital organs, and it helps, it helps keep you warm. It helps also provide energy. In fact, it's the highest energy source per gram. That's all the science behind it. But it's there because we need that. And of course, as a dietitian, I'm going to say that, of course, we need fat for nutrition. Maybe be intentional about the fat that you're taking into your body. You know, you want some of those higher sources of good fats for you.
What are some examples of those?
Yeah. Oh, like avocado or olive oil or nuts and seeds, things like that,
Not the candy bars that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that goes into a conversation about when we're trying to choose nutrient-dense foods versus foods that have little to no nutrition. And so that's why I say there's no good and bad, but we should be intentional about what we bring to ourselves and what we're looking to solve.
Yep, absolutely. When you said that about fat being good, so I was thinking about my grandmother. And she lived to 92, and she was super healthy. She might have had some vitamins she was taking. She lived in her home, and she did her own thing. And I remember her being like 90 and still saying, well, I'd like to get this 10 pounds off. And I just was like, is this what the rest of every woman's life is going to be? That you keep trying to get that 10 pounds off for the rest of your life? Like, we have more decades of that.
I'm focused so much on the scale.
We focus so much on the scale. And I think it's just, I don't know, it's kind of beaten into our heads a little bit from society and advertising. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's so impactful and so important to talk about, because I think that there's a whole history behind it, right? In the way that our culture is formed around food and formed a dialogue and narrative around food. And so this is something that you have heard throughout decades and decades worth of time of, I just need to get this last 10 pounds off, or I need to lose weight, or I need to be doing this. It's now, more known as diet culture, right? I need to be on a diet. If I'm not on a diet, what am I doing? It's almost something, at the holidays, this, it's the most pervasive, is because we see it and we start to say things to each other and to ourselves, like, okay, after the holidays.
Yes. I said that to myself this morning.
Yeah. After the holidays, I'm going to lose this 5 pounds, or I gained a lot of weight over the holidays, which if you just know the stuff behind you, it's not possible to gain that much weight over the holidays. Maybe you have some water weight or whatever it might be, but it gets rooted in people's minds that, okay, now I need to do something to offset, or I need to exercise to earn the calories that I ate earlier in the day. And so that's all that diet culture jargon.
And it's almost like food is the enemy, right? Correct. And so how do you help, or what would you say to somebody? What should we say in our heads instead of, this is bad, I shouldn't eat that? Or if I'm 90 and I'm saying I need to lose 10 pounds, how might we? Is there a path to looking at this in a healthier way?
Yeah.
Do you think?
No, I think it's rewriting the dialogue with yourself.
Okay.
You yourself letting yourself know that I'm not wrong for wanting to eat food, or for wanting to nourish myself, or for having a craving, or for whatever it might be, and starting to meet yourself where you're at and asking yourself questions. That's that self-talk dialogue that you have, and say, well, what am I feeling right now? Am I feeling bored? Do I need to? Yeah. Am I feeling stressed? Is that what is making me want this thing? Not overly restricting, because there's a binge purge cycle that starts to happen, and just saying, I can have this if I want it.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about, instead of big changes and big diets, incremental, sustainable. Talk a little bit about how you get on that incremental, sustainable track versus crash, burn, crash, burn.
Yes. I think it's making little subtle changes that you can keep with yourself and that you enjoy and that help make you ultimately feel better and that are sustainable long term. Now, this is such a dietitian thing to be like, okay, that's right. At the dietitian is like, I'm going to make small, incremental, sustainable changes. I'm going to make SMART goals for myself. I'm going to keep myself accountable to I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep every single night. Or I'm going to try and find something that I can eat for breakfast every single day that I enjoy. It doesn't have to be some huge thing. It just can be like a little bit of yogurt or a banana or whatever it might be. And I'm going to start my day off by reading the newspaper and eating this thing. And that might
Then you
be all
get stressed out reading the newspaper and then you want to. That's a whole other podcast, Jill. That's a whole other podcast.
Maybe not the
Newspapers. You watch the birds.
That's it.
But the one thing too that we touched on, and I know I'm experiencing this right now, is the things I ate in my 20s have a whole different impact on me going into my 60s. Yeah. So what is that about? I mean, there is a realization and an acceptance of things do change as you age. Your relationship with food and those really hot Cheetos come back and haunt you later now than they did in the 20s. Or I used to live on Suzy Q's and that was my lunch. And now that would do me in, Yeah. So talk a little bit about that acceptance and that realization and how you navigate those changes and understand what to do next about it.
That's such an individual process for each and every single person. I think is there are some things you can do to help alleviate some of that, right, for yourself. For example, I love certain foods that give me acid reflux. So I take a medication for acid reflux and it allows me to still enjoy those foods. But there might be some things that you're like, actually, every single time, no matter what, I'm going to have this. And so you're right. In my 20s, I could eat barrels of this thing, and now I no longer have. And I think it's recognizing that we do change as we age. Our metabolism is going to change. We're going to need different things for our body. Our bodies are going to look different. So that's that self-talk again, and realizing, again, what am I doing? What am I eating? And how am I meeting myself with my nutrition? And am I feeling like, oh, do I need to start increasing my fiber? Because that's a problem that I'm having. And so I look up fibrous foods that help alleviate some of that pain or whatever it might be. Or do I need the protein or carbohydrate?
And you talked a little bit about the realization, too, that your caloric intake needs change as you age.
Correct.
Do they go up, down, or is that also individualized?
I mean, it can be definitely individualized, but we tend to become slightly more sedentary or just not as much movement based, right, in our lives. And so your caloric intake needs may go down. Now, I know lots of really active older folks that still require a ton of calories, right? That because they are, very active. One is not worse or better than the other one. It's just that you're finding out that, oh my gosh, I'm eating as much as I was when I was in my 40s, but I don't need to be. I need to revisit what it means to be sitting and eating a whole meal, and what that looks like.
Yeah. So for you, somebody who's this is your career and you have great knowledge of all this. What does a day look like for you with what things do you choose?
Like specifically to eat or just in general,
in general. What do you shoot for?
It does change a little bit for me every single day too, but I typically wake up and I go to the gym every single morning.
Good for you. That's awesome. That is, it's good.
It's part of my habit. It's part of my habit that I love. It's something I enjoy as far as movement. And so I know that I need to eat something before I go. Because I'm a breakfast person, I enjoy, but it's something small. So I'll have a banana or some yogurt, exercise, and then I refuel with more carbohydrate and protein after that. And that could be any variety of things like eggs or, cereal, anything like that. And I try and plan out my meals as much as I'm able to.
Okay.
But I hate eating the same thing like week over week. You know, that some people can just like eat like
My husband has been eating the same thing for breakfast for 10 years.
I can't do that.
I cannot do that. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. So some people are like that. They're like, hey, I love sweet potato. I could probably have a sweet potato for the rest of my life, like every single day. And I'm like, I'm really gonna get fed up with sweet potatoes. Like I can plan my week out or meals out a week in advance, and then I need to switch it up.
Yeah.
Constantly switching and changing things. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
And so I try and do something that has vegetable, carbohydrate, protein of some kind. And I do traditionally one vegetarian or vegan meal a week, and then one animal-based protein meal a week.
Oh,
Yes, yeah, that's good.
Have lunch, dinner, and then I eat again, it's because I go to the gym in the morning, I'm just ravenous through the day. So I'm like snacking a little bit. Yeah, I'll have skip protein something or
yeah.
Well, I'm curious, as we wrap things up, if you wanted to have everybody out there listening or watching keep one thing in their head about nutrition and food as we age, what would it be?
I think one thing would be to be intentional and thoughtful. And I've said that a handful of times throughout this, is that you need to be kind to yourself, and then you need to ask yourself, hey, where am I at? What am I needing right now that is serving and fulfilling me? And that is that intention and thoughtfulness. And then don't be so hard on yourself. You don't need to be. You don't need to lose that last 5 or 10 pounds.
Can I have your cell number so I can call you whenever I need to, Clint?
We're just going to put that on a record. Put that on a little recording. We'll put it on our desk. We'll post it. We'll on our episode. Be kind to yourself. Take it easy on yourself.
Yeah.
And all food is good food.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
That's really good advice. Thank you. Yeah. I heard somewhere if we talk to other people the way we talk to ourselves, nobody would want to be around us, right? But we talk to ourselves in some kind of awful ways.
We do.
And so,
especially around food.
We need to be nicer to ourselves. Yeah. Thank you for.
And I learned that every single day, 10 plus years being a dietitian, every single day I have to talk to myself. Yeah. And sometimes I'm not very kind to myself at all. And so it's nice that we all share that lived experience. With each other.
It is.
Yeah.
All this we need to be, but it is good. Thank you. Thank you, Clint. Thank you. Thank you so much. So appreciate working with you and the rest of the dining team. You guys are awesome.
I love it.
And we appreciate our listeners and viewers joining us today for Aging Unscripted. A reminder that aging is indeed unscripted. Please subscribe on your favorite streaming channel and share the episodes with your friends and family members that you think could really use some of this information. Each of us has an aging journey that is as individual as we are, and not everyone receives the gift of aging. It's something that should be honored and celebrated. Thanks for joining us.